A new CBS News data analysis shows how the deployment of National Guard troops is affecting crime in the nation's capital. According to the data, violent crime is down by almost half when compared to the same nearly 3-week period last year. Assaults are down 19%, burglary is down 48%, and homicide is down 57% from August 7th through August 25th. And for more on this, let's bring in John Kelly. He's CBS News Vice President of Data Journalism and our data guru. John, good to have you on. So break this down for us. Did you find anything surprising or unexpected in your analysis?
Sure. We found a lot of interesting things, Tom. We really wanted to look at what is going on with crime incidents across D.C. in these few weeks since we had these federal troop and law enforcement deployments. And so we're able to look at every incident of crime and its location, and we can see things that are related, we think, to the presence of an extreme amount of additional law enforcement. You know, we're seeing less violent crime incidents reported to the police, at least. Fewer assaults, fewer murders, fewer gun crimes. One of the things that's been plaguing the city with auto thefts down 36%, and so we looked at this time period of these few weeks that there have been these deployments in the city, and we compared that back not just to the same days last year, but we wanted to look over the longer haul too to see if the trend lines held up. And we've seen this decrease is pretty similar. It's a little more than half if you look at the 5-year average. And so there's less reported crime going on. Now, that's a complex situation, right? There are a lot of factors that can contribute to that. We can't know for sure how these deployments are affecting that other than the presence of additional law enforcement and military personnel in, key locations downtown.
John, one of the things I want to talk about, there's a lot of information and some misinformation about the location of where these troops are versus the crime rates there. You looked into that. What did you find?
Well, one thing that's key is that crime incidents are extremely evenly dispersed across Washington, D.C. And a lot of people, everyone comes with their perception of how they feel or what they experience and what they see. But in general, the data over time shows that the crime is pretty evenly dispersed throughout the city. And so there were a lot of talking points around, well, the federal troops and the federal law enforcement officials have been deployed in places that are lower crime areas. And for a couple of these locations on the National Mall, that might be the case, or near monuments. But in general, what we found was that within a half a mile of the confirmed locations for every one of these, incidents, we're seeing in general a higher than average crime rate and incidents clustered around those locations. These are some of the higher crime low areas in the city. The areas north of the mall and north of downtown are areas that have seen a lot of growth in crime incidents over the past few years. And so those are areas where there had been a lot of criminal activity. And so the deployments in some place like U Street have more concentration of crime than you would see in 90% of the neighborhoods across the city.
I want to hear somebody talk to me about what's happening with people on the streets. And what I mean by that is, I want to know how my people are being treated. How are black men being treated in the city now? I'm concerned with that because I know we got activists in the streets saying it's a war zone, we're being treated like, this is happening, and black people are being targeted, and I'm like, I'm not hearing these stories. So I want to open my platform up because I want to give voice to those who are being harassed. It's hard to imagine that we're not getting footage like that. You understand what I'm saying? I'm on the record, fam. I say, if they do this lockdown, if they add these additional law enforcement people that serve as law enforcement, because they're really law enforcement, and there's shootings, if there's brutality, that's going to look bad real quick. It's going to be very visible. It's going to get a lot of attention because we all know the liberal media is going to report the hell out of it. And I'm saying, where's that reporting, man? Under Biden, maybe you wouldn't hear about it as much. People the corporate media wouldn't want to report on it. But we're talking about Trump. I mean, I watched footage of a person that had been in the country, kicked out 3 times, crying in the courtroom because he's getting kicked out the 4th time. And they showed that as if this guy wasn't illegally in the country 3 or 4 times. But if somebody broke in your house 3 or 4 times and they was crying in court because you kicking them out, because ICE came to get them after they got left court, you would not cry about that. You would be like, he ain't supposed to be in my house. So what I'm saying is the media has a way of having a certain narrative around a certain issue and leaving out key elements. If this executive order that's put these additional personnel that are being used as law enforcement around the DC area, and it was resulting in police brutality, we'd be seeing that because I'm sure ABC would lead with it. CNN would be leading with it. It would be everywhere. You would not be able to escape it. Now, I know there are people that no matter what I say, they won't listen because, they know better. They hate Trump. They don't care that there are people who be living in neighborhoods that have very high crime rates. To them, what I do like about, because they hate Trump so much, they're willing to sacrifice poor people or people that are living, in bad situations around a lot of crime that are victims. They're willing to sacrifice that because, they don't want to get Trump a win. Instead of looking at it as a win for the people that are there, who now can go to their mailbox or walk home from the metro at night without fear. It is what it is. I do like what the guy said here. He said, look, this is crimes that are reported. Remember, not all crimes get reported. So always take it with a caveat. Everybody don't call the cops when they get assaulted. What they gonna do? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But that does not mean it didn't happen. It just means you weren't there to see the tree fall in the forest. But that mofo did fall. I want to hear about how life is for people. Social media is so misleading. Everything is misleading, And what I mean by that is, I get these videos, people, black folks saying things are better, right? And some of them are rejoicing, man. They're happy as hell. Going, this is better, this is good. Why aren't Democrats happy that there's less crime in my neighborhood? I'm seeing these things. And I don't know if these people are just trying to get clout. I don't know if they're being real and they're just doing this to build up their social media accounts. Because let's face it, that's one way to build up social media. I don't know if other videos are being suppressed, where people are complaining. And if I bring somebody on, is that going to be indicative of really what's going on? Or is it just this one person's experience? But what I can tell you that I think is total bullshit, and I'm going to double down on this, is this whole thing about ICE wearing masks. Yeah, this whole thing about ICE wearing masks. And people are so afraid because ICE has on masks. This is bullshit. You know how I know? Because I've been robbed with people. I was robbed back in the early 2000s by a group of men. Me and my friend, me and my brother were robbed by black guys in masks. And I knew they weren't ICE. You know how I knew? I knew because of the vehicle they got out of. I knew because of what they were dressed. I knew when they talked. I knew when their hand was like this. I didn't go, oh God, is this ICE trying to deport me? Nah, it was some thugs, literally thugs, robbers, ganking me for slipping. That's what it was. I wasn't confused. I didn't think it was a notorious Mexican gang trying to deport me to El Salvador. So this is overblown, this notion. And I know we got a lot of liberals and people that call themselves progressives that think they know something. Motherfucker, you are just defending something because you are taught to defend it. If you don't have a license and a cop gets behind you, you scared. That's anybody. If you are living illegally, undocumented is living illegally, and the cops are out on the prowl, every time you see a cop, your heart do like this. That's not the cops' fault. It damn sure ain't Black America's fault. It's not our fault. We don't make the immigration laws. We don't control that shit, and we don't determine if you got your paperwork straight or not. You having paperwork straight has nothing to do with me. But this whole idea that those people who feel that way because somebody got deported or somebody got picked up and processed by ICE, cut the cap. There's a real crime going on. That happened to me in D.C. I was robbed in D.C., and I'm just telling you, I wasn't confused. The INS was operating at that time. I think that was pre-ICE. So yeah, so this idea that people don't know what's going on. Yeah, I've seen videos. Who are you? Who are you? How do you know who you are? You know who they are. You know. It's 4 white guys. They don't got on Klan hoods, mofo. Last thing on this note. Violent crime, man. Violent crime is a bad business. This idea that black people are okay with it, untrue. And see, the Democrats never listen to black people when we say it. What we're also against is being abused by police. And what I mean by abuse, I mean harassment. I was looking at some crazy statistics where they were like yanking people up, yanking up brothers, yanking up black men. It was like 150 black men have been harassed and only like 2 had any type of infractions or whatever. So the percentage of people, the number of people that they were harassing and accosting and ruining their day was like, 98% of the people, they ruined their day for no reason whatsoever. And that's okay, unless you're those people. This is the problem. This is the dilemma. But when you have So many things wrong in the community, from the schools are shit, the job opportunities are scarce, the housing is expensive, the entire system is broken, careening, it's in a ditch, and it's built that way. It's been that way. It's systemic. You're gonna have a lot of factors before you can turn the ship around, and it's like nobody wants to turn it around. They just want to throw people in jail and think that fixes the problem. But now you just created more kids at home who don't have dads. Created more situations that lead us back in the loop to where we are. I've been saying, and I'm taking the time to go through the whole record, because I know I'm gonna have people that watch this video won't watch to the end. That's disappointing, but we gotta make it clear. I support both. We gotta have a police presence. We gotta take care of kids. And we have to take care of kids. Once I take care of kids, we gotta take care of kids who are committing violent acts. We also gotta take care of kids who need our support, who need a community behind them. And if you don't take care of parents, you ain't taking care of the kids. You have to help the family. It's a unit. It's a unit. So unless you're willing to deal with the entire scope of things, you're not really doing it. You're not really doing the job that makes it better. You're giving a Band-Aid, you're grabbing a news cycle, running up the ratings, unless you're serious. If you're serious, then what I'm saying makes sense and it's worth looking at. And all that being said, zero homicide is pretty impressive. Zero may not be good when it comes to your bank account or when it comes to your check after support payments. But zero is damn good when it comes to how many people died last couple weeks from cop shootings or from civilian shootings or homicides. That's good. And if you're sitting back and you're calling yourself an humanitarian, you're saying that you support the black community, I don't care what I don't give a damn if you're Democrat or Republican. I don't give a shit about that. You care about that, I don't. But if you're sitting back and you are not acknowledging that zero's good, if it was higher, Democrats be taking a victory lap. It'd be the other way. They'd be talking about, look at Trump. It caused it to go higher. Look what he did. Oh no. But it's lower. It's almost non-existent. And people are like, but what about that over there though? I saw a squirrel running and that squirrel looked hot. That squirrel was so hot, he was drinking a bottle of water on the corner. Poor squirrel was sweating because of Trump. They was patting down squirrels in the park. They done tore down their homeless embankments. Those were beautiful monuments to the homeless people in our neighborhoods. The feces that was in the doorway of those businesses, that's important. Mwah! That's the pride of DC, those feces that the homeless be leaving as little gifts and tokens of their appreciation. And I know this because my wife worked in DC, and every morning when she came out, they'd have to spray down the front because the homeless was shit in it. Look, you ain't used a garden hose till you had to clean up human feces every morning. That's fun times. But I know you'd love to do it. You jump right out of bed. What you doing, Bob? I'm going to clean the shit. I love cleaning up human feces. This is fun. I look forward to it. Brightens my day. So we got a lot of people that are not being realistic. They're unrealistic and they're fools. No one likes to clean up human feces. No one likes getting mugged on the way from the metro at night after a long shift. Oh, great, this is great. Getting mugged is fun. I just try to present both sides of the argument because if you cut on CNN, you ain't gonna get both sides of the argument. If you cut on MSNBC, you ain't gonna get both sides of the argument. You cut on Fox, you damn sure you ain't gonna get to both sides of the argument. Come on, Johnson. I'm trying to give you a balanced view of it. And I'm saying, in my utopia, if I ruled the world, if it was me, man, what I would do is I'd want both things done. If it was me, I'd say we're going to increase security presence, and we're going to have wraparound services. And we're going to make sure kids have somebody at home when they come home from school. And by doing that, place for them to go, and we're going to invest in our communities. That's what we do. And you know what we'd see? We'd see a reduction in crime. But it'd be slower. You wouldn't be able to grab a headline by locking people up. That would help. It would help long term. Because what's going to happen as soon as Trump leaves? What's going to happen as soon as the troops, when they go back? Get what I'm saying? It's just a damn shame. Most reasonable people would say, we need both. And they understand the likelihood of us having both. So I think the people that disagree with me about the services, about helping the families, about helping the communities, they only disagree because they doubt it'll happen. And there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that in the black community. Like, it's not that they disagree with certain policies. It's just like, they're like, come on, man. Man, we can't even get them to fix the potholes around this mofo. Sometimes with the brain processes, you ask a question And they're not processing the question. The processing, is it realistic? You got to be able to understand the culture of the people you're talking to. Black Americans have heard so many lines of bullshit that they just jump forward through the process of what has happened or not. Get where I'm coming from? So since they know they ain't gonna spend no money helping our communities, they haven't done to this point, just keep us safe. Put a cop up there. Because they know the likelihood that the federal government will invest in D.C., not for beautification on Pennsylvania Avenue, right, but actually invest in the communities outside of the district, outside of the direct line of the White House or the Capitol. They have their doubts. And that's because they're not stupid. I advocate for what I advocate for, and I don't do so trying to read the future and trying to determine what's likely to happen. For things to happen, things have to change. We got to be a part of the change, fam. We can't just settle for the way shit is and go, well, they're not going to do anything, so, well, we got to change that. I mean, if we don't try to change it, how is it ever going to happen? We're just never supposed to have it? Now would be a good time to hit the like button and let the algorithm know that you love the show. Share this to your social media. That's all I'm asking. Share it on social so that we reach more eyeballs, so we get people engaged in the show.
The Tim Black Show streams Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wolfpack.